I never pictured myself becoming the kind of man who would simply vanish. But that's exactly what happened the night I learned my wife, Sarah, had been unfaithful. We had spent 8 years together. 8 years filled with shared jokes, peaceful dinners, and late-night talks about our future. It all felt honest, solid, unbreakable. I never saw the hidden fractures beneath our life. Maybe that's the part that hurts the most, that everything felt normal until the very second it didn't. It began with a phone call. I was in the garage tightening a loose shelf when her phone buzzed on the workbench. Normally, I wouldn't have touched it, but the name flashing on the screen froze me in place. Ethan. The same coworker she always swore was just a friend. Curiosity, or maybe instinct, made me unlock the message. Then I saw it. One sentence that erased the last 8 years in a heartbeat. Last night was perfect. I can still taste you. My stomach turned. My hands shook. Everything around me went silent except for the hard thumping in my chest. I wish I could say I confronted her like some brave, righteous man. But I didn't. I just stood there staring at those words, realizing the woman I trusted more than anyone had been living a second life without me. When she came home that evening, she smiled at me. That same gentle smile that once used to make my entire day brighter. And I remember thinking, how long has that smile been fake? I didn't shout. I didn't fall apart. I just watched her move around the kitchen, humming, pouring a glass of wine like nothing in the world was wrong. In that moment, I knew I couldn't stay, so I didn't. When she finally fell asleep, her breathing soft and steady beside me, I packed a single bag. Some clothes, my wallet, and a few photos of my father. That was all I needed. I left my wedding ring on the nightstand beside the phone that had destroyed everything. I didn't write a note, didn't leave a message. I simply walked out of the life we built. For weeks, I stayed invisible. I closed my social media, changed my number, and rented a small cabin 2 hours north near Lake Placid. The days blended together. Long walks in the woods, quiet mornings with coffee, long nights staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. Sometimes I imagined her waking up that first morning, reaching across the bed, finding it empty. I wondered if she cried. I wondered if she cared at all. Then I'd get angry at myself for even thinking about her feelings. One evening, about a month later, I went down to the lake at sunset. The water was flat and still, like glass. My reflection stared back, tired eyes, rough beard, a stranger wearing my face. But for the first time, I didn't feel shattered, just hollow. And strangely, that emptiness felt peaceful. Then one morning, my phone rang. It was my brother, Tom, the only person who knew where I was. His voice was quiet. "She's been searching for you, man. She's falling apart. Keeps showing up at Mom's house asking if you're okay." I stayed silent. I didn't know what to say. "She says she just wants to talk," he added softly. I hung up. I wasn't ready. Maybe I never would be. But life has a strange sense of timing. 2 months later, I drove back into town to sign some paperwork at the bank. When I stepped outside, I stopped cold. Across the street stood Sarah, thinner, pale, her eyes swollen and exhausted. She didn't see me at first. Then she did. Her chest hitched. She took one small step, then another. I didn't move. We just stared at each other, held apart by everything that used to be our life. Her voice cracked as she whispered my name. Michael. Hearing it again after so long felt like reopening a wound I thought had closed. Nostalgia, guilt, and pain hit all at once. For a second, I actually considered turning and walking away. But something kept me there, maybe curiosity, maybe unfinished business. She crossed the street slowly, terrified I would disappear again. When she reached me, I saw how much she'd changed. Hair messy, makeup smudged, dark circles beneath her eyes. But the biggest difference was the way she looked at me, not with excuses or attitude, but with real regret. "I thought you were dead," she whispered. "I thought something horrible happened." I didn't reply. Tears filled her eyes. "You just left, Michael." No goodbye. I didn't know what to do. I looked at her, my voice low. "You did plenty before I left." Her mouth opened, but she had no defense. Her shoulders trembled as she started to cry. Her quiet, broken sobs drew stares from strangers passing by. A small part of me wanted to pull her close, to comfort her. The part of me that once loved her so fiercely still flickered somewhere in my chest. But then the memory of that message returned. The shaking in my hands. The suffocating silence of the cabin. I know, she choked between tears. I know what I did was unforgivable. I don't have an excuse. I was stupid. Selfish. And you were. Bored. I cut in. You wanted something exciting. Something new. She lowered her head, ashamed. Maybe. But it didn't mean I stopped loving you. A bitter smile tugged at my mouth. You don't end up in someone else's bed if you still love your husband, Sarah. She flinched when I said her name. I ended it, she whispered. After you disappeared. I told him it was over. I haven't spoken to him since. Good for you, I murmured. That's between you and whatever's left of your conscience. Her breath shook as she spoke again. Please, just talk to me. I've been going to therapy. Trying to understand why I did it. Every morning I wake up and hate myself. I miss you, Michael. I miss us. I looked past her at the cafe across the street, the same place where we used to eat breakfast on Sundays. For a moment, I could almost see us there again, laughing, teasing, sharing bites of pancakes and stolen kisses. For a heartbeat, it felt real. Then the picture shattered, replaced by the memory that ruined everything. I'm not the same man you remember, I said quietly. The person you broke doesn't exist anymore. She wiped her cheeks, desperation shining through her red, tired eyes. Then let me know the man you are now. I shook my head. You already met him. You just didn't care enough to stay. Silence settled between us, heavy, painful, full of everything we never said out loud. After a moment, I stepped back. I didn't disappear to hurt you, Sarah. I left because I needed to save whatever was left of me. I spent years giving everything, love, time, loyalty. And when I read that message, it felt like the last thread snapped. Leaving was the only way I could breathe again. She nodded slowly, tears spilling down her cheeks. You deserved someone better. I know that. I did, I said softly. But so did you, from yourself. Her face collapsed, and she covered it with her hands, crying into her palms. I didn't feel satisfaction. No revenge. Just a deep, quiet ache, the kind that comes when something beautiful is gone forever. I hope you find peace, I told her, my voice gentle. Because I finally have. She lifted her head, eyes red and swollen. So that's it. That's it, I replied. Goodbye, Sarah. I turned and walked away. She didn't chase after me. I didn't turn around. The wind carried the faint sound of her crying, but I kept moving, each step feeling lighter than the last. That night, back by the lake, the water calm under the stars, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, stillness. Not the empty kind that follows heartbreak, but the quiet calm of acceptance. I took out the ring I'd once left behind. Tom had returned it when I came back to town. The gold was scratched and worn, a tiny reminder of a life that no longer belonged to me. I held it in my fingers for a long time, then let it fall into the lake. Ripples spread across the water, catching the moonlight before fading into the dark. For the first time, I smiled. I didn't disappear because I was weak. I walked away because sometimes the only way to heal is to stop waiting to be found.